Welcome into the Sporting News Studios for the first yearly edition of Ram Fantasy Update with the experts from Sporting News Fantasy Source. My name is Tom Vandervoort, and that's the expert, Matt Lutovsky. Matt, week one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some matchups that fantasy owners might be looking at to exploit, to really pick up some extra points.
Well, I think a big one is the Buffalo defense and special teams. You know, they're a team that people don't really think of for defense. They kind of think it's a Swiss cheese defense. But for fantasy purposes, they get a lot of takeaways, and they make a lot of big plays, and that's really what you want in fantasy. And right away, right off the bat in week one, they get the Jets. This is an offense that scored one touchdown in the entire preseason. They gave up the most fantasy points per game to defenses last year. It's a great matchup. It's clearly a great matchup.
But, Matt, they're going to unleash Tim Tebow. Come on, baby.
Well, on those punts? Yeah, on those punts. I'll tell you what, if the Jets are punting a lot, that's a good sign for the Buffalo defense. I think it's a great matchup for them. They were a top 12 defense last year, and they only got better in the offseason, so I really like them in week one.
Okay, now, on the other side of the coin, we've got some injuries out there fantasy owners are having to deal with.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to replace some of these guys. Are there matchups that maybe they need to avoid or kind of temptations they might have to play guys that you might advise against?
Yeah, you know, with the running backs being injured in week one, Adrian Peterson, Trent Richardson, we have Jones-Drew, who's not fully up to speed, and some of these guys, there's going to be a temptation to go to that backup running back well. And one guy who probably stands out is Ben Tate, because Houston has Miami. It's a great matchup on paper for Houston to win. So you think blowout, garbage time yards. But Miami last year, third best run defense in the NFL. Mm-hmm. You can never bank on a blowout. You can't bank on those garbage time yards. So as much as I like Ben Tate in general, I don't think this is necessarily a great matchup for him. But another guy who it might be a good matchup for, Michael Bush for the Chicago Bears, playing the Colts. They're a bad run defense and could be a blowout.
And lastly, any other tips for week one?
The biggest tip for week one is just have fun. Play your stars.
Well, I can't have fun if my guys are getting trampled.
Just play your stars and hope for the best. It's fantasy football. That's all you can do is hope for the best.
All right, that's Matt Lutovsky. I'm Tom Vandervoort for Ram Fantasy Update. We'll see you next week.